forest, whether it consists of European woodland or the tropical reaches of the Amazon, contributes greatly to the world's eco-balance, but it is under threat.
The global forest is being reduced to a scary extent. About 25% of the global greenhouse gas emission come from land use changes, out of which about 21 from tropical deforestation. So it is an enormous source of emissions. What we have tried to do in the book, we have brought together experts from all around the world that come and look at the problem of tropical deforestation and climate change and forest from different perspectives. It brings together lawyers, economists, and forest scientists that look at the problem and propose solutions.
This book tackles an aspect of greenhouse gas reduction which has been previously overlooked: how the forest industry and land use can be employed to offset CO2 emissions. So far, there has been more emphasis on reducing emissions in the industry and energy sectors. But the book's authors believe there is huge scope in carbon trading in forest.
$1 billion of tons and 1.5 emissions. So the difference there is one in land use change sector, in the tropics, again mainly, but in the past, of course.
At the moment, a forest has a value when you cut the tree. The timber has a value, the land has a value. And that are the drivers behind deforestation. Now what you need to do is you need to give the standing forest a value. And there are different methodologies on how to do it, but the essence is that you say for the reductions of emission from deforestation, you get carbon credits or you get funds, but you get a direct reward from the standing forest.
There have been programs for carbon trading developed in Australia and New Zealand, but these are still very much early days. Countries such as Indonesia, Brazil, China and India are top of the table in terms of high rates of carbon emissions in land use such as forestry logging.
I think we have a unique opportunity here in climate policy and forest to be, to a certain extent, a trendsetter towards a global climate agreement. You have to know that forests and land use emission have basically left out or marginalized under the Kyoto Protocol. Partly because that problem seemed to be too complex, monitoring was difficult, there were all sorts of scientific and methodological challenges, so it was left aside in '92. Now, since 2005, it is back on the agenda, partly because tropical nations have stepped forward and said, look, we are ready to engage, we are ready to talk about emission reduction commitments if there are right incentives.
The experts who have contributed to this book believe governments and NGOs are at last beginning to recognise that national and international schemes in carbon trading for forests offer a viable approach to reducing greenhouse gases.